Hello and welcome to the discourse. In the previous section, we learnt about the auxiliaries. Auxiliaries are the helping verbs. The verbs be, have, and do. We use these verbs in making sentences. Negative sentences, interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, and sentences in passive voice. Apart from these three auxiliaries, we also learnt about the other three: need, used to, and dare. Now, apart from these six helping verbs, there are some more helping verbs, and these verbs are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, and must, and ought. These verbs can or could, may or might, shall or should, will or would, must or ought. All these verbs are known as modals or modal verbs. These are very similar to the auxiliaries. In fact, in many English grammars, we call them as the auxiliary modals. However, there is a difference between these modals and auxiliaries: be, have, and do. The difference is very little. Both of these sets of words are used in making sentences, sentences in negative, interrogative sentences, and sentences in passive voice. But there is a little difference. The difference is these three verbs, these three helping verbs, do not have any specific meaning. They do not express any specific meaning. On the other hand, these verbs can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, and ought, these words show some specific meaning. They have some specific meaning, and that meaning can be either permission or possibility or probability or certainty or necessity. So, modals or modal verbs are those helping verbs that have a specific meaning, and that meaning can be, or the modals express either permission or possibility or probability or certainty or necessity. So, this is the difference between auxiliaries and modals. This is very minute difference and we can ignore it and call them as a mix of auxiliary and modals, but it is there. The auxiliaries do not have any specific meaning. On the other hand, modals have certain meaning, and that meaning may be permission, or it can be possibility or probability or certainty or necessity. So the modals are can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, and must, and ought. Now, all these verbs are also known as the defective verbs. They are known as the defective verbs because something is missing in them. And what is missing? They cannot have S form in the third person singular. Also, they do not have any infinitive, and they cannot have ing form. You cannot make canning or coulding or maying, mighting, willing, would, woulding, shalling, shoulding. This is not possible. They do not have ing form. They cannot have infinitive, and they do not have the S form in the third person singular. Hence, they are known as the defective verbs. Something is missing in them. The first set of modals is can, could, may, or might. Let us see the uses of can and may. Can usually expresses capacity or ability. We use can to show capacity or ability of someone or something. As for example, I can run 5 miles every day. He can solve this problem. Or can you lift this box? Do you have the capacity to lift this box? Again, can and may are used to express permission. We use can and may to express permission or to suggest permission. May is rather formal word. Can is informal. As for example, you can or may go now. Can or may I borrow your umbrella? We use may in the formal situations and we use can in the general informal situations. Again, may is used to express possibility in affirmative sentences. We use may in affirmative sentences to express possibility. On the other hand, can is used in negative or interrogative sentences. As for example, it may rain tomorrow. Can this be true? He may be at home. It cannot be true. We do not use can in showing possibility in affirmative sentences. There is a difference between may and can. Let us check the difference between may and can. Let us compare these two sentences. It cannot be true and it may be true. What is the difference between these two sentences? The first sentence, it cannot be true, suggests that it is certain that it is not true. We are 100% sure that something is not true. Hence we are saying it cannot be true. On the other hand, when we use it may be true, what we are saying that maybe there are possibilities that it is true. We are not certain, but there are strong possibilities that something is true or something is false. This is the difference between can or cannot and may. We use can or cannot to denote certainty and we often use may to suggest probability. The fourth use of may is in wishes. In very formal English, we use may to express wish. As for example, may you live happily and long, or may success attend you. Now, could and might are the past equivalent of can and may. Can is could in past and may is might in past. And we use them as such. I could swim across the river. Here could is suggesting ability. He said I might or could go. Here might and could are expressing permission. I thought he might be at home. Here might is showing probability. She wondered whether it could be true. Here could is suggesting possibility. We can use could to suggest possibility and we can also use could to suggest certainty. Now in this first sentence, I could swim across the river. Could is being used to express ability. We use could to express only ability. We do not use could to express the act or what happened or whether the act was taken or not. That is, could is used to express only ability to do an act. It does not tell anything about the performance of an act. It does not say whether the act was taken or not. We should use was or were able to express ability plus action. If we have to say that I was able to do something and I did, then we will use I was able to. We won't use I could. As for example, when the boat was upset, we were able to swim to the bank. In negative sentences, it is clear that some action was not taken. So we can either use could or was able to. Both are applicable in the negative sentences. Here we have used we were able to. What it suggests that we had the capability to swim and reach the bank and we did it. If we use could, then it won't say whether we did or did not reach the bank. On the other hand, if we have to make a negative sentence, then we can either use could or was not able to. As for example, I could not or I was not able to solve the puzzle. Now could and might are the past tenses of can and may, but we can use could and might both in present tense. We can use could and might in present time context and we use them to suggest a less positive version of can or may. As for example, I could attend the party. We have used could in the present tense, present time context, and what it suggests that there is some hesitation. I am not sure whether I will be able to attend the party. Hence I am saying I could attend the party. If I say I can attend the party, then it means that I am almost certain that I will attend the party. But when I am saying I could attend the party, then it suggests that I am hesitant. I am not sure whether I will be able to attend the party or not. Again, could you pass me the salt? Here we have used could instead of can, and because of could, it sounds more polite request. So we use could or might to make a less positive version of can or may. We can also use might to express a degree of dissatisfaction or reproach. We use might when we have to express our dissatisfaction. As for example, you might pay a little more attention to your health. What it means that we do not like someone because he is not looking healthy. So we are reproaching him. We are showing our dissatisfaction. You might pay a little more attention to your health. Please take care of your health. Let us see the uses of can, could, may, might with perfect infinitive. He is not there. Where can he have gone? What it means is, where is it possible he has gone? You could have accepted the offer. Why didn't you? What it means is, why didn't you accepted the offer? Nagma may or might have gone with Sangeeta. Here may and might is suggesting possibly Nagma has gone with Sangeeta. Why did you drive so carelessly? You might have run into the lamp post. Here we have used might to suggest that it is fortunate that you didn't run into the lamp post, but you were driving so carelessly that it might have been happened. So these were the uses of can, could, may and might. Now we will see the uses of shall, should, will and would. Shall, should, will, would. We discussed the uses of shall and will in the simple future tense. We use shall in the first person and will in all persons to express future. However, I or we shall is less common than I or we will. In general, we use I or we with will. We do not use shall. As for example, I shall or will be 25 next birthday. We can use shall or will both. But in general, we use will. We say, I will be 25 next birthday. But if we say, I shall be 25 next birthday, then it will also be correct. Again, when shall we see you again? Here, using shall is more appropriate. We can say, when will we see you again? But shall makes it more polite. So we use shall in place of will sometimes to suggest more politeness. Sometimes we use shall in second and third person to suggest a command or promise or threat. As for example, he shall not enter my house again. Here we use shall to suggest a command. We have commanded that someone, he will not enter my house again. You shall have a holiday tomorrow. Here shall is suggesting promise. You shall have a holiday tomorrow. You shall be punished for this. Here shall is used as a threat. The third use of shall is to ask permission or opinion in the simple future tense. We have seen this when we discussed the simple future tense. Shall I open the window? Here we are asking permission. Which pen shall I buy? Here we are asking for opinion. Where should we go? Here again we are asking for opinion. So we use shall to ask permission or opinion in simple future tense. Now let us check the uses of will. We saw almost all of the uses of will when we discussed the simple future tense. Now let us see again. Will is used to express volition. I will carry your luggage. What it means is, I am willing to carry your luggage. I will help you with your homework. Here will is used to express a promise. I promise that I will help you with your homework. I will help with your homework. I will succeed or die in the attempt. Here will is used to express determination. How determined I am about my attempt. I will either succeed or die in the attempt. The second use of will is to express characteristic habit. He will talk about nothing but film stars. He is such an avid fan of film stars that he will talk about nothing else. He will continue to talk about film stars. She will sit for hours listening to the classical music. Here we are using will to express the characteristic habit of her. We also use will to express assumption or probability. This will be the book you want, I suppose. Here we have used will to express probability. Probably you are looking for this book. That will be the postman. I think someone knocks on the door and I assume that the postman came. So I say that will be the postman. I think. We use will you with question mark to indicate a request or invitation. As for example, will you have tea? This is an invitation. Will you lend me your scooter? It is a request. Now the past tense of shall is should and will is would, and we use should and would as the past equivalents of shall and will. As for example, I expected that I should or would get a first class, and I did. Again, she said she would make my dinner. She would sit for hours listening to classical music. Here we have used would to express the characteristic habits of someone in the past. Should is also used to in all person to express duty or obligation. As for example, he should obey the law, or I should complete the homework, or children should obey their parents. Here in these examples we are using shall in present time context, despite the fact that should is the past tense of shall. We also use should in chances of condition. It is used to express a supposition that may or may not be true. If it should rain, they will not come. Here we are using should to suggest that if it rains, they will not come. Now there are possibility that it may rain or may not rain. If it should rain, then they will not come. Again, if he should see me here, he will be annoyed. Again we are expressing a probability. If he sees me, he will be annoyed. If he won't see me, he won't be annoyed. So we are saying if he should see me here, he will be annoyed. This is a probability. Now there are some more uses of should and would. Let us see. I should or would like you to help her. In this sentence we are using should or would to suggest a polite form of want. I want you to help her. Instead of saying straightforward, I want you to help her, I am saying I should or would like you to help her. I am saying it in a polite form. Would you lend me your scooter please? It is a more polite form than will you. I can say will you lend me your scooter. Instead of saying that, I am saying would you lend me your scooter please. It is more polite form. You should have been more careful. In this sentence we are using should with the perfect infinitive to suggest the past obligation which was not completed. We failed to complete that obligation. You should have been more careful, but you were not. He should be in library now. Here we are using should to suggest probability or possibility. I wish you would not chatter so much. We use would after wish to suggest a strong desire. I strongly desire. So these were the uses of shall, should and will and would. Now we will check the uses of must and ought. The next model is must. Let us check the uses of must. Must is used to express an obligation or necessity. For example, you must improve your spelling. It is an obligation. It is a necessity. You must get up early. Now must is a specific verb. It always represents either present or near future. It can never represent past because there is no past form of must. Must is only such verb which has no past form. When we have to express obligation in past, we use had to. As for example, yesterday we had to get up early. We use must when obligation comes from the speaker. If the obligation is coming from someone else, then we do not use must. Rather, we use either have to or had to. As for example, I must be on diet. Here in this case, it is my own idea, my own volition. In the second case, I have to be on diet. Here the doctor suggested me that I have to be on diet. I should be on diet. So I am using have to instead of must. I have to be on diet when the obligation is coming from doctor. And I must be on diet when this is my own idea. We can also use must to express logical certainty. if the situation is such that logic suggests something is certain, then we use must. As for example, living in such crowded conditions must be difficult. The place is so much crowded that it is obvious that it is very difficult to live there. Again, she must have left already. She is nowhere to be seen. She must have left already. Now must is used to express obligation or necessity. We use ought to express moral obligation or desirability, such as we ought to love our neighbors. It is not a necessity, but it is a desirability. It will be better if we love our neighbors. So we say we ought to love our neighbors. We ought to help him. We ought to know better. Here we are using ought to express moral obligation or desirability. What is better? Again, ought to can also be used to express probability. As for example, prices ought to come down soon, or the book ought to be very useful. Here we are suggesting a probability, a strong probability that this book is so famous that it ought to be very useful. So these were the uses of modals: can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, and must and ought to. Apart from these 10 specific verbs, we also learned the uses of be in all its form, am, was, etc. We also learned have, and we also learned do. Apart from these 13 auxiliaries and modals, we also learned the uses of need, used to, and dare. I hope you will revise them and use them in your writing. Please practice them. And please like this video, please share it with others, and please subscribe to the discourse. Thank you.